Good evening, students. I just want to go over the setting up or preparation of your workspace for textual analysis or exegesis of the text. I know this is one of the areas where a lot of students struggle um, just to set up your environment and to be able to parse the text properly. So I've got my Microsoft Word open, as you can see on the desktop here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make the workspace a little bit bigger. So I will go to Layout, and I will set the margins to very narrow. So you can see that I bring the margins in like that. So the first step is to just get your page a little bit bigger. And then what I normally do for textual analysis is, instead of doing it straight in the Word document like this, I prefer to set up a text box. So you go to Insert, and you go to Text Box, and you go Simple Text Box, which you then put on your page. From this, I then choose, if I click on this, if you select the text box by clicking on the line, not inside it. So clicking on the line, you'll see that you get this that pops up. And one of the options you've got there when you click on it is to say that I want it in line with the text. So make sure that you select in line with the text as your text type, and then expand the block as far as you can on the page. So just to do this again, so I'm gonna quickly just delete this. Is the first thing I do is I go to my layout, I make sure my margins is narrow, then I go back to Insert, and I select text box, and I just choose a simple text box. Text box is fine. Click on the line on the outside. When you see this little thing pop up that says layout options, you can click on that, and you make sure that you select the inline with text. Okay, and then just expand this or drag this. If you click on that, on this size circle, you click on it and you drag it, and you pull it all the way across to about the end of the page, so it's equal to the size of the page. You can see where these lines are, and then you have your starting position of your text box. Now, the next step after that is that we need to set certain properties regarding this text box itself. In order to set the styling, you want to go to Home. So select the box itself again, but you select the box by clicking on the outside line of this box, and then you have your paragraph section here, and I want you to click on the little drop down arrow, that little square with the arrow at the bottom right, and then go to tabs, and in the default tab stops here, I want you to type in 8px 8px and click on OK. This is going to set the tab positioning when you press tab on the keyboard to a much smaller size than a normal tab position. You'll see why a little bit later when we actually do some text. So this is just to set up your environment so that you can start working on easily identifying the text. One of the other things as well is obviously to change the font. I prefer a font like Arial Narrow, so I'm going to set it to Arial Narrow. If you don't have it, then you can use another font. It doesn't matter as long as it's a font that's available on everyone's machine. So Arial Narrow. The reason I choose that is that it is a bit more narrow, so I can fit more on the width of a page. And you can change it to size 11 if you want to. And it will set it and be ready for you to then start typing your text. And so just an example of what text would look like when I copy it in here. So we will do some exegesis. We will do 2 Peter 1 verse 3 to 4, just as an example that we're going to do. So I've got my Bible program open like this. Normally I would just do everything in Logos itself, but for your sakes I will do it in Word so that you can do it on your own machines. So I'm just going to copy the text for 2 Peter 1 verse 3 to 4, take it to the document here, and I'm going to paste it in. So there I have my starting text. Now you could, if you want to make it a bit bigger, um, if you want to make the font a little bit bigger. Now normally I leave it on this size, and so what you can just do is zoom in until you can see the width of the page, and then you can work on this. So this is the starting point from which we will then do our analysis. Now what you could do just before this is, since we are doing 2 Peter, is to add a title to this page. Obviously we didn't start with it, so to do that I just go to the end of the text box, I press the home key on my keyboard, the key that says home, you'll see that the cursor moves to the starting line here. I press enter, that moves it down, and now I can say something here like 2 Peter 1 verse 3 to 4, and then we are ready to do our exegesis or our textual analysis.